It's not what he said, you ignorant wretch. Spanish is worse than your English.
The Armchair Quarterback Show. Talking about things that'll piss you off. Things that'll make you think. Things that'll make you laugh. Things all throughout the sports world. The Armchair Quarterback Show. Weekdays. Drive time. Talking about things.
Things. Like a kiss in the dark.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BURN to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat-burning mode. Text BURN to 323232 right now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. That's right, 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system. Just text BURN to 323232 right now. There's even a money-back guarantee. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Just text BURN to 323232. That's BURN to 323232.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out.
Randy Moss has caught 3 touchdown passes. What a performance.
I didn't even see the ball. I didn't. The sun coming down that way. I seen a black spot at the last minute. So it was either a ball or a bird. So catch the black spot.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Find us on Facebook today.
Cars from all over America come to find a new home in Florida, just like you. I moved here after the draft, football. I noticed there was one thing missing from this great town, a celebrity-endorsed used car shop. That's why I founded BJ's Used Autos. Every one of these beauties is freshly painted. They look brand new. We have new models coming in every morning, usually around 2 a.m. We can get you anything. And if you see a car of your dreams, tell us. We can acquire it for you. I've taken the skills I've learned as a pro football player to the used car business. Smash, grab, and run like hell. I'm tackling low prices with hot cars.
You'll do anything to stay healthy. So isn't it time to think about your water? Aquasana water filters remove contaminants other filters don't, like lead, bacteria, viruses, and pesticides. Up to 99% of 88 contaminants, while leaving vital minerals you need like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Visit waterfilter.com now and use promo code RADIO to get 50% off. That's waterfilter.com, promo code RADIO for pure, delicious water and the ultimate peace of mind. Aquasana, better water, better you.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Why is there a pancake in the silverware drawer?
Man, why is there silverware in the pancake drawer?
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes. And what a lovely morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How am I? I'm a year closer to death than last time I saw you. That's it. Every time I see you, I'm slightly closer to death.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but don't.
One day you're going to ask me how I am, and I'm literally just going to be dead in the chair, right?
Oh no!
I don't worry about it anyway. I don't care. I don't care. No, don't worry about being dead. So, you don't know about it. That's the best thing about being dead. You don't know about it. It's like being stupid. It's only painful for others. So I don't care.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Happy Tuesday, July 20th. We got a great slate of Major League Baseball for you. The Phillies are at the Yankees at 7:05 Eastern. Aaron Nola scheduled to pitch. While the Red Sox at 7:07, they're back in Buffalo. Garrett Richards up against Alek Manoah. Orioles and Rays, John Means is on the mound against Tampa. And the Padres and Braves, they'll begin their battle at 7:20 Eastern. At 8:15, it's the Cardinals and Cubs. And at 3:37 Eastern, this afternoon, we get it rolling with Jose Suarez and the Angels at the Oakland Athletics. At 4:10, Brewers host the Royals. Eric Lauer is on the mound. And at 7:05, it's the Marlins and Nationals again. Trevor Rogers is on the hill. Mets and Reds, Wade Miley for Cincinnati tonight. And at 7:10, Rangers and Tigers, Dane Dunning and his 4.22 ERA on the hill for Texas. Indians and Astros on ESPN Plus. Tristan McKenzie will try lower his 5.47 disappointing ERA for 2021. 8:10 Eastern, Twins and White Sox, Dallas Keuchel, 7-3 on the year, will try to keep the good times rolling on the south side. And at 8:40, it's the Mariners and Rockies. Speaking of disappointing, Marco Gonzalez, 1-5, 5.88 ERA, one of the biggest busts in the fantasy baseball world for 2021. Pirates and Diamondbacks are at it again. It's a real needle mover there in the desert. And Giants and Dodgers, 10:10 Eastern. San Francisco trying to hold on to first place against LA. SEC Media Days kicked off on Monday, and Commissioner Greg Sankey announced that 6 of the conference 14 football teams have reached an 80% mark for vaccination. Quote, "That number needs to grow, and it needs to grow rapidly. We have learned how to manage the COVID environment, but we do not yet have control of a COVID environment," unquote. The one thing the conference can control, according to Sankey, is that teams that will be unable to play because of coronavirus issues won't be postponed, and it has been recommended that the conference removes the 53-man roster minimum that was put in place last year. Also, forfeits would be on the table. The message to the schools: you're expected to play as scheduled. Quote, "That means your team needs to be healthy to compete, and if not, that game won't be rescheduled. And thus, dispose the game, make it a forfeit, and move on." Florida coach Dan Mullen, who spoke to reporters shortly after Sankey, declined to say what percentage of his team has been vaccinated, but noted that it was a pretty high number and we're getting close to the threshold. Sankey said of the vaccinations, adding, "It's not a political football, and we need to do our part to support a healthy society. As we look back, the potential of absence of college sports last year caused us to think about losing sight of the lifelong experiences, the laboratory of learning that takes place," unquote. The SEC begins play in early September. And that's your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern Sports Talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing.
The Mets defense has gone bush league the last 7 days. I think they might need some practice.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. That rain needs to stop in Atlanta. I mean, we get rained out tonight. Last night, it ain't looking good for tonight. They have to play a triple header on Wednesday. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
What's wrong? What did I do?
No, nothing. It's not you. It's me. I have a fear of commitment. I don't know how to love.
You're not telling me the truth. I must have done something.
I have a fear of intimacy.
Don't give me cliches. I have a right to know. What did I do wrong?
Nothing. It's not you.
I want the truth.
The truth? You want the truth? It is your earrings, but it's so much more. You're pretentious. You call everyone by their full name. You called my doorman Samuel, but you didn't even say Samuel. You went Samuel. Papier-mâché? What is papier-mâché?
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee and Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you?
Doing great, Mac. Excited for football season after yesterday's announcement. So I'm ready for the Manning brothers.
Yeah, let's dive into that here on Batting Practice today. Let's go ahead and jump into the Manning brothers. The big news that came out is that Peyton and Eli are going to do 10 games this year in some kind of an alternate broadcast for Monday Night Football. So it's what it sounds like is that they're going to be sitting around like on the couch, just kind of, yucking it up while they're going. Did you see any kind of announcement on who the third, because you're going to have a third person to keep them, from just going full bore, just telling fart jokes, because you're going to have someone who's going to keep bringing up, hey, by the way, there's a game over here. Have you seen any kind of announcement on that?
I have not seen who else will be in there.
I cringe because it could be someone really great to make this phenomenal, or it could be someone really hokey that would just be, it would just make it a clown show. If you had your choice of all the ESPN personalities, because I don't think they'll bring in a third person. I think it'll be someone who's already with the ESPN. Who would you choose?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, obviously you can't split up the dream team.
Booger McFarland?
No, I was really thinking, I'm trying to think in my head. It was specifically with two quarterbacks and the Manning brothers. I'm looking for the best retired pass rush or linebacker that gave them just pure T heck over their seasons. So I'm running through my head of analysts on ESPN. They're former linebackers or defensive ends. Spears. Can we get Jamarcus Spears? I think that might be a good one.
For some reason, Teddy Bruschi comes to my mind.
There you go. I could handle that as well. Plus with them,
with him versus the Giants, right?
Yeah.
I like Teddy Bruschi. I would even be okay with if it was someone who didn't play football, like a Susie Colbert. I just hope they don't go real shticky. And I'll tell you who would have been great with this, but they got rid of him, would have been Kenny Mayne. And I'm not even that big of a Kenny Mayne fan, but I think that would have been entertaining.
I anticipate this will have a lot of what we saw with Romo, where you're going to get some analysis and some insight to plays and, plays before they happen. I would like to see the defensive guy, someone come in there that can kind of offset that and be like, yeah, well, when I hear your goofy selves yell Omaha, this is what we're doing. And so I would like to have some of that offensive defensive banner to offset there. So be interesting to see. I like the Bruschi idea. That would be a good one as well.
I know he's coaching nowadays, but every once in a while, I wouldn't mind seeing them throwing Dion in there, right? Because they could do it remotely, right?
Well, he's building a resume to get back to your boys, I mean,
well,
it won't be long.
He's going to be a hell of a coordinator because Mike Norvell is doing Butch Jones things right now, man, brick by brick.
Well, he ain't recruiting like Jackson State. I know that. So we'll see what happens.
Who isn't recruiting?
I mean, I don't think anybody's pulling the level of what Dion pulled in this last offseason. I don't think anybody in the ACC or SEC is pulling top talent like that and just coming in and completely stacking a program. So
I don't know if it'll last, because I've never believed in recruiting numbers in, what is this, July 20th? But right now, Florida State is number 4 in the country. But I mean, you're talking about banking on what a 17-year-old kid's going to decide to do in December. Like, what the
Neon Dion's going to have a heck of an NIL agreement with his players. So they're going to be some great licensing and merchandising coming out of there for those young kids.
He was pre Free Shoes University, but he was around. He was still around back then.
He knows how it works.
I'm trying to think of who that was that led that brigade. I want to say it was the Terrell Buckley era, but yeah, back to the Mannings. I think this is going to be fun. They're going to do the first 3 games this year, and then 7 more. They haven't decided which 7 those will be, and they'll do 10 a year. And I was listening to the Morning New York show this morning, and they were kind of scoffing at it because they're basically saying that they're half-assing it, and that, why aren't they doing the full 17 games, and they want to see them in a booth. But I'm like, this is kind of what the Mannings want to do. I don't think they want to be broadcasters. I don't think they want to be ridiculed by, think about the stuff that the Booger McFarland went through when he was doing his impersonation of a broadcaster in the booth. They killed him. And I don't think he's trying to hurt his quote unquote brand. Right. So I think they want to be what they'll be, which is it'll probably be on ESPN Plus. They might debut it on like ESPN2, but they're eventually going to get you to want to buy ESPN Plus. So this is just another ploy to do that. And I've already saw that they jacked the price up for ESPN Plus. Did you see that this year? They jacked it up again. Thankfully, I had already renewed our thing that you.
Oh boy, I got the game right here. November 22nd, Monday Night Football. The New York Giants visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We need that to happen, folks. That's the game that it has to happen right there.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. But back to the point of ESPN's already jacked up the prices. And maybe this is why they had to jack up the price. Maybe they knew they were. I don't know what they're paying the Mannings, but maybe they're like, well, dude, we're gonna have to make someone pay this bill. Because they used to be $49.99 a year, and now in last year they went up to $59.99 a year, and I think I saw it went up to $79.99 a year. Now, I'm going to be honest, being a college sports fan, it's still worth it. It's still absolutely worth it because it gets my craw a little bit. And I wish I didn't have to pay for ESPN as well, but they were complaining about having to buy it. But I'm listening to a New York show that doesn't talk any college sports, and the biggest thing about ESPN Plus that we get drawn to is all the college sports that they do all year long. Now they're making you want to and need to have it during the NFL.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting where they put it after those initial few weeks. I know that it will debut on ESPN2, and that's where the first 3 are, I guess, slated to be. But as you say, that will change.
That's how they get you.
There's no way they're going to tie up their broadcast on both channels every single. I just don't think they'll do that. You see it on specialty games and championship and something like that, but I don't think you're going to see that on a regular Monday Night Football, them tying up both channels 10 weeks out of the season.
No, because when you get into like November and whatnot, that's when they start putting college basketball on there. So and plus they want you to have to pay. They don't want you to be able to see it on ESPN2. It's just another ploy by ESPN. I was talking to someone the other day. If it was not for the fact that I have to have ESPN to have ESPN Plus, I don't even know if I would carry my regular TV anymore. There's a couple things I would miss, but I think there's a way I could stream those things. But you have to have ESPN to stream ESPN Plus. As much as I hate their talk shows and the personalities and whatnot, you still need them for the content, because they own everything. They own the Southeastern Conference. They have a very big stake in the ACC. You can't see college baseball, college softball without that, and many other college sports. So they got you, but I just hope it doesn't continue to go up to the point where I think eventually they're going to hit a threshold where they're going to realize we're charging too much because we don't have as many. Because if you get too high and mighty, then people are going to start dipping out. But
now, remember, this is the first season NBC Sports is going to be stepping out and dissolving at the end of this calendar year. So NHL will transition over into ESPN, and maybe that's where they see their increase coming from. But you better put a lot of product on the TV, because if I'm not catching a lot of extra games, there's no benefit in me dropping that money when I can just go buy the season pass.
I guarantee you ESPN's hockey content, a lot of it's going to be on the Plus, because they're going to find a way to try to make you have to. They probably eventually down the road want to be, if they could get enough subscribers and get enough money, they would love to be their own entity, right, and not even have to rely on the cable and the satellite. But that's a long ways away, because you can't be doing that while in the middle of woke nation. I think you're gonna have to wait about 10 years for all that to dissolve to maybe get back to some kind of normalcy. And I think most of them, it's going to turn into, just like the way people have gotten so polarized with politics, they're going to get polarized with what you actually stream and what you decide not to stream. And it's going to be like, the people that, that want to stream and watch stuff on Netflix are going to be in one corner, and the ones that want to do Hulu because they like certain things on there is going to be in the other corner, because they're going to keep raising the rates on both sides, where eventually you're going to be like, I can't have all this. I believe we have too much stuff that we pay for, because my wife has opted us into a couple of different streaming platforms that, to my knowledge, we don't use it very often. And it's one of those things, it's a pretty good deal. And I mean, that's how they get you. And then renewal comes up and you're not paying attention, and they jack it up a few bucks. And then, throughout the year because we've got Apple, we've got, what's the other one? Disney, Hulu, Netflix, and I'm missing 6 others.
I mean, I know you have Amazon
Amazon. Yeah. But we use Amazon for the, we pay for the Prime just for the shipping. So it's kind of, but realistically, they jack that price up too, to pay for all these movies. Right. So, and I guarantee I'm missing a couple, because I guarantee if I flipped on my thing right now and go, what the hell is this? Are we paying for this? Oh yeah.
And now every individual channel is putting their Plus channel. You've got Discovery, Peacock. I mean, you're seeing all of them branch off and take that Plus network.
I refuse to go there.
Yeah.
I refuse to go there. I'm like, I can't do it. There's not enough hours in the day for me to have it all. And there's some good stuff on a lot of these. I'm like, I've got to pick and choose my battles. And, Hulu's enough for me. I'm not even that big of a Netflix person, because I find much more stuff on Hulu than I do Netflix. But that's because I'm more of a television show watcher than I am a movie watcher. But anyways, moving on from that, it's LSU day, and the LSU Tigers, by the way, they were at the SEC Media Days yesterday, and Ed Ogeron, of course, was talking big. Did you happen to catch the stuff with Dan Mullen yesterday?
Parts of it. Praising DeSantis, is that what we're referencing?
Well, no, I didn't see that part. What I saw was they tried to corner his ass about how many vaccines, because he's one of the coaches that has not released the numbers. And just knowing his track record, like he says, we're getting close. He's probably got like 3 guys that are vaccinated, but just knowing how he is. But the other thing was, he was whining and crying about crossover games in the SEC and wanting to get away from crossover games. I saw Tony tweeting about this morning and stuff, and I was like, I bet he does. I bet he does want to get out of crossover games, because he doesn't like the fact that this year they're playing Alabama and LSU as their 2 crossover. I mean, yeah, as their 2 crossover, but LSU's the team they always play. And he was complaining, because you get to see more schools when you're here. That's a bunch of horse crap. If your crossover team was Mississippi State, you'd be fine with it, right? if your crossover rivalry was Arkansas, you'd be fine with it. But you don't like the idea that it's LSU. But you look at the three major powers in the SEC East, Justin, their crossovers are all difficult. So it's not like someone's got a big advantage over the other. Tennessee has to play Alabama. So Mullen can shut the hell up about crossovers. That's the most difficult crossover you can have. Georgia has to play Auburn, and Florida plays LSU. That's pretty, to me, that's very, very even. It's not like it is in the ACC where FSU plays Miami, and normally Miami is supposed to be a power. I think Clemson's crossover game is like Duke or something. It's something crappy. But anyways, my point is Mullen's bitching and moaning about nothing. And I feel like he does this every year about this time.
Yeah, I don't have any qualms with their crossover game. I'd swap with them in a heartbeat. I would lots rather have Auburn or LSU rotating around than the Final Four SEC champion that it's already written in before the season begins that you have to play the third Saturday in October and walk around with a big old L on your forehead while the Alabama transplants walk around in enemy territory.
Yeah. But at the same token, if you took Alabama off that schedule, there'd be a lot of traditionalists who would be upset because Florida LSU is a rivalry, don't get me wrong, and Auburn Georgia is a rivalry, but Tennessee Alabama has that moniker of third Saturday in October. There's just something, there's
people plan their lives around it. You don't get married in the fall, and you dang sure don't get married on third Saturday in October. I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan, that's just something you're born and raised with. It just doesn't happen.
Nelson, I hope the hell y'all are listening.
Did they really?
Dude, they got married back-to-back weekends or something like that, or it was within 2 or 3 weeks of each other in the same year during football season. Now, it wasn't Tennessee, I think, was playing LSU when Steve got married. And when Matt got married, I think it was Oregon, so it was earlier in the season. It was like one of those kickoff games. Dude, and this is before – okay, this is when smartphones just came out. And I mean just came out. Like I was one of the few people at the wedding that had a smartphone. And I wasn't even 100% sure I could do what I was about to pull off, which was stream the game. I forget how I streamed it but way back then, but I streamed it somehow. And so we're talking about, I think that was late 2000s when they played Oregon. The game didn't end up being very good. Oregon won by a bunch. But the thing was, it was a big game. It was Tennessee, Oregon. It was the night game, and that was during the reception. And there were games going on during the wedding, but the Tennessee LSU game was going on during Steve's wedding. And I'm sitting over there with an earbud in my ear. I mean, I was like the classic, sitcom clown, over there with the earbud in the ear, listening to the game. And even Steve's talking about, what's the score? I'm like, I'll tell you what the score is. The score is her 1,000, you 0, because you agreed to this crap. That was the first thing when my wife said, what time of year should we get married? I said, not football season. I just chimed in. I was like, no time in the fall might get married. Because it's either going to be on a big football game or the damn World Series is going to have the Braves in it or something. And I'm going to be sitting there just sweating bullets. No.
Mine was purposely planned for the off week. Tennessee's off week. And I think that's one of the most popular fall dates in the state.
Yeah, but your anniversary is going to fall on. So that was my whole thing, is for years to come. I wasn't just looking at just that date, but for years to go. We have some chucklehead friends that are getting married this November. I'm like, really? It's like, I'm at the point where I'm going to start telling them, nah, dude, we're good, man. Zoom us. Zoom me in. All right, LSU Tigers. Here we go. So I think the big question, don't you, would be the who are they going to rally behind at quarterback?
Yeah, with Finley transferring out to Auburn, I'd say you lean Johnson, but I think they're going to have a quarterback. Coach O comes out at SEC Media Days yesterday and says he's got 2 championship quarterbacks. So,
I know. I saw that, and I was like, oh, my God, what is he talking about?
I mean, Auburn and LSU are just doing the best they can to detour Alabama. So let's see if it works this year. They're throwing punches early. But I mean, looking at it, I truly think they got a favorable
Max
schedule.
Johnson, don't you?
I think it will be. And if I called him Brad, I apologize. That's his father. Anybody that remembers old Brad Johnson from the NFL.
Oh my God. Have you seen him on TikTok?
No.
Oh my God. Dude, it's painful. He calls himself Big Bad Brad, and he's like trying to like market his clothing line. Look, I'm a Florida State fan. I'm a Brad Johnson fan. He was never that an attractive dude to begin with, but now he's like in his late 40s. He's kind of chunky. And he's like, big bad Brad here for you. And he's like trying to do like goofy throws, like throw the ball and hit the goalpost kind of thing. It's some of the stuff is impressive, and some of the stuff you're like, are you even doing this? Is this hacked? Right. But
sounds like that Coach Ogeron commercial where he's selling cars down there in the bayou.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh man. And I keep when it first came, I was like, why did this come about? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. His son's playing down there in freaking the bayou, you know. So he's trying to make some money off of it. But he's selling like ball caps and shirts, Big Bad Brad 14. I'm like, dude, you were not an NFL legend. I mean, I'm sorry, but you weren't. You had an okay career, and it's actually a pretty decent career. But so I'm looking at breaking news. The Tokyo Olympics, they're saying that they have not ruled out last minute cancellation of the entire Olympics.
I mean, opening ceremony is tomorrow, right? Pretty sure. The 21st kicks it off, if I'm not mistaken. I think the games start up Thursday or Friday, but I had it in my head the 21st. I thought opening ceremonies were tomorrow. They better come up with a decision quick, because I know it runs through like August 7th. I think it runs 2 weeks from Friday.
Yeah, the opening ceremony is 8 p.m. local time on July 23rd, but that might be July 20th. Dude,
I got you the 23rd.
Normally it's on Friday night, but Tokyo's a day in front of us, I think, or a day behind us. So it might be on Thursday night this year. So I don't know, man.
Either way, my point is we're right here. It's this week.
Yeah, they're already over there, right? You didn't fly over there like this morning, because there's gonna be jet lag. Like, you have to get over there and get some sleep. Oh, what a nightmare that would be. Anyways, we gotta dive into LSU before we run out of time. I had something planned, but we'll do that somewhere down the road because we're just not gonna have time for it. Ed Ogeron was gonna stop by, but maybe he'll do that closer to the season. The season gets started, by the way, at UCLA, so it's not like they're going into Cupcake City to start their season off. And then they go to McNeese State and Central Michigan, which I find interesting that they're willing. I get it. UCLA is not a dominant football program, but they're still a Pac-12 team, and you have to play them on the road. That's not exactly, taking it easy the first week. And then you're at Mississippi State, at home against Auburn, at Kentucky, at home against Florida, which is why Dan Mullen's crying, and at Ole Miss, at Alabama, Arkansas, ULM, and Texas A&M all at home to finish off the season. So right now, the over-under on LSU wins is sitting at 8.5. Some books have them as 9 and even 9.5. But 8.5 is pretty much 8.5 to 9 is pretty much where it's at. Do you see them getting more than 9 wins, or do you think 9 is pretty much on the money, or do you see it even worse?
I have them at 8-4, with the 4 games being Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and Texas A&M. And I'm trying to figure out if they go 2-2 or 1-3 in that. I don't think they run 3-1. So either way I go, I get them to 9 wins. I think they pick that up. But I think they probably drop Florida, Alabama, and A&M. They get the Auburn game at home, I'm thinking. So we're possibly lining up for a 6-0 LSU to take an incoming Florida at home. So I'm looking forward for that game. I hope the schedule stacks that way, but I'm going to lean 9-3 for the season.
I think the Florida game, LSU definitely gets. That defense is supposed to be elite this year. They've got, 9 guys coming back on defense?
Yes.
As much as a question mark as we have for LSU's quarterback, I've got the same questions for Emory Jones because he's looked like nothing but a glorified tailback to me. Now he'll have a month and a half of seasoning, so things could change. But, man, in LSU, and they normally play that game at night, that's a tough game. That's a really tough game to win. So I think LSU wins that one. The Ole Miss one is, to me, is one of the wild cards because I do believe they're going to lose to Alabama. It's in Tuscaloosa. A&M, I think they'll find a way to beat A&M if this season's worth a damn. If they're sitting at 8-3 or 7-3 or 7-4 at that point, then all bets are off. But if they've got a chance to do something, I don't think they lose to A&M at home. But the games that have me most concerned for them is going to be, what if Bo Nix is something special this year with the new offense? So the Auburn game concerns me. The Florida game concerns me a little bit, but Auburn and Alabama are the two. And then Ole Miss, I could really see Ole Miss sneaking up on them because if you play Florida and you're going to be banged up the next week and you're looking ahead to Alabama, I don't care what Ole Miss's record is on October 6th or October 23rd. That's going to be a tough game to win on the road, looking and trying not to look ahead to just once the team's undefeated and they're trying like hell not to look ahead to Alabama as they go into Oxford. That's going to be the question.
That's going to be very hard. Luckily for them, they've got that off date in between, so they can kind of reset, but don't be looking that far ahead.
I think they're at least 4-0, possibly 6-0 when they hit Florida. The Auburn game is a big question mark to me. Kentucky's not going to be a problem this year, and I don't believe Arkansas is going to go and give them any problems in Baton Rouge. So, didn't Arkansas LSU used to be the November 20th, the Friday after Thanksgiving game? I wonder what the hell ever happened to that. Because now they're playing in early November and they're playing A&M. I mean, that's a much better matchup. It's more intriguing. Don't get me wrong, but they kind of built that as a rivalry, Arkansas versus A&M.
See, and I thought they would tailor that for that rivalry week at the end. That would be something that Arkansas A&M built up to, and you would reestablish that where it used to be Texas, Arkansas, and but just geographically, A&M would fill that void.
Is what I meant to say. Arkansas LSU was always the day before the Iron Bowl.
Right. I'm saying, but if you look, they've got A&M LSU going at the end of the schedule. I would like to see a different rivalry schedule flipped around into that. Now, who you fit in there for LSU, I don't really know, but there's different options. Obviously, you can't.
LSU A&M's is interesting. I just find it interesting that because I mean, they did that for like almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the game wasn't worth a crap, but I'd still watch it because you got turkey sandwiches and stuff, right? You're like, let's watch some football. Why not? But it was, I don't know. It's weird that they just flip flopped it. I guess they're just like, dude, A&M's doing things, LSU's always doing things, and Arkansas not so much. So I guess that's why they did it. That would be my guess. Hell, it does. It looks like it's being played on Saturday too. So I don't know what the Friday game on the SEC is now. I guess it's Arkansas versus somebody.
Missouri.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's going to be something where everyone's just going for the over-under. Oh, man, freaking. I'll tell you what, ESPN's having an orgasm right now because they might cancel the Olympics. Like, oh, thank God. Someone might watch our actual network. All right, brother, what's your walk-off? We got to run.
Everybody be safe. The Wallers are about to vacate, and we'll see y'all on Monday.
All right, brother. Have fun.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes we're funny, sometimes we suck.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays. Drive time? Find the Armchair Quarterback Show on Facebook today.
Yes, I never go out.
You'll do anything to stay healthy. So isn't it time to think about your water? Aquasana water filters remove contaminants other filters don't, like lead, bacteria, viruses, and pesticides. Up to 99% of 88 contaminants, while leaving vital minerals you need like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Visit waterfilter.com now and use promo code RADIO to get 50% off. That's waterfilter.com, promo code RADIO for pure, delicious water and the ultimate peace of mind. Aquasana, better water, better you.
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Out of the shotgun, third down and about 10. Ward getting some pressure, getting more, gets it away. He's got Fryer wide open. Touchdown, Florida State. That's what Ward will do to you.
Georgia Tech 45, Nebraska 21. It's now up to the voters. They look like the number one, don't they?
All right, 6 seconds to go. Maurer throws it up for grabs. There's 5 defenders back there, and Nick knocks it down. The game runs out, and Clemson wins the national championship of college football. This is for the national championship for Nebraska. Incomplete. And for Miami, an absolutely miracle year. The dream season as they come back from a bad loss opening day to go to 11 straight wins, and in all probability, when the votes are in, a first ever national championship for the Hurricane.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for any sports fan, or just looking to add some stuff to your own man cave? Then head on in to MVP Collectibles at the St. Augustine Outlets Mall. They carry Seminoles, Gators, Bulldogs, Canes, Longhorns, Bama, Buckeyes, Wolverines, Vols, you name it. They have Patriots, Jaguars, Titans, Dolphins, Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs, whoever you're looking for. Yankees, Red Sox, Cardinals, Braves, whoever you like. The best selection you'll ever find for the sports fan that thinks they have it all. That's MVP Collectibles in the St. Augustine Outlets Mall, Suite 245, right across from the food court in the St. Augustine Outlets Mall. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6. Get your man cave popping today at MVP Collectibles.
Follow us anytime on Twitter. Our handle is @CBS Sports Radio.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Anything has the potential to become a DUI checkpoint if you crash your car into it.
Good morning. Welcome back here to CBS Sports, Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. And Mr. Bobby's with us today. Bobby, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing as good as I can, man. I'm afraid the NBA season might end tonight. I'm hoping Chris Paul's got one last good game in him and can push it back to Phoenix, but got a bad feeling that they're absolutely collapsing. And the strange thing about that is that of the 3 wins that Milwaukee has came roaring back on, normally when this happens, the other team, normally when this happens, these are blowouts, is what I'm trying to get at. Instead, 2 of these games were extremely close.
Yeah.
You only had the one game that was the blowout. And I'm a little worried about tonight's game in Milwaukee, how they are going to if the Suns can get through halftime and still be in it, they've got a chance. But what I'm concerned is a lot of times when teams can finish it on their home court, especially in the finals, they come out and they come out on fire. And if you can absorb that first initial wave, you can usually find yourself with a chance to win it. But that's going to be the issue tonight. What say you?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Chris Paul's due for a good game. He hasn't been too hot the last couple games. But I think the Bucks, this is their best chance to close it out. I mean, they're playing at home. They've got home court advantage. They've got all the momentum in the world. There's no reason they shouldn't win this game.
The only thing that I think could stop them is, Giannis gets banged up again or something, because he's
Yeah.
played really well,
Mhm.
but if they give it out tonight, I would think it's going to be Giannis winning the MVP.
Mhm.
But he's also been known to go down with these knee injuries and these ankle injuries his entire career. So that's going to be the key thing, is that if he doesn't have some stupid goofy injury,
Mhm.
I think it's a 5.5 point spread right now is what I saw last night. Would you be willing to take the Bucks minus 5.5, that they're just going to run away with it at the end? Or do you think this is going to be a nail biter and you take the Suns plus the 5.5?
I would take Suns plus 5.5. I think the Bucks, they have the better shot to win. I think they should win this game, but the Suns are going to come out just like the Bucks have the last 3 games. They're going to play like, their season depends on it, because it does. I think we'll see that tonight. I'm hoping the Bucks win, but I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that the Suns are going to win this game.
If so, how fun will that be, having a game 7 on Thursday night? That's what I'm pulling for all along. I love, especially when I don't have a dog in the hunt. I've been pulling for Phoenix, but I wouldn't say that I'm a Phoenix fan. That'd be disingenuous for me to say, oh yeah, look at my new Suns gear. I mean, who the hell am I, Sean? Show up here with Suns gear on Friday morning. Woo, we won the championship. When the hell when did that become a we? But I had a buddy hit me up the other day. He was watching the YouTube show, and our good friend Sean, that's on here on Wednesdays, he wears all these different jerseys because he just loves them. And I love giving him a hard time, but he stopped by and saw it on the show. He didn't mention, he didn't say anything in the comments, but he knows that Sean grew up a Detroit Tiger fan, Detroit Pistons, everything's Detroit, Michigan. And I get this text in the middle of the show. I don't see it till later. I'm glad I didn't see it, because I would have fell out laughing. He says, what the hell is Sean doing wearing Atlanta Braves stuff right now? And I was
That's hilarious.
I said, man, he's been watching them. What he goes, he's had never been at Atlanta Braves. He was going off about it. I was just dying laughing. I was like, man, I guess after that many years of watching the Tigers, you finally go, dude, I want to pull for someone who has a fighting chance.
Yeah, being a Detroit fan must not be easy for any sports team, really.
No, for any time of the year. It doesn't matter what time of the year. The Tigers have had decent teams over the last 20 years. They've had some decent teams. But when they've been bad, they've been just ridiculously bad. And that's what fans hate the most, is that not that you don't win a championship. It's when you have to endure these just atrocious seasons year after year after year, like a Marlins fan. A Marlins fan who's in his 30s has seen them win two World Series, and that's great. But how many seasons have they been in the damn last place? And that's the worst part of it. Because a lot of times, I've always said about baseball, if my team, meaning the Braves, essentially, I do pull for the Rays as well, but if you can at least get me to September, where you're in the playoff race till September, you won't hear me bitch one iota, because at least you've got me to football season, and then everything is anew to football season, right? And with fantasy football and whatnot, I don't really, if my teams do crappy, I'll be okay. But that's the way I've always looked at my baseball teams. Like, I want us to win, but it gives me something to watch all summer long, and I love it. But if we stink, I don't mind missing the games in September, right? Conversely, I have the same opinion about Florida State basketball. Now, recently, they've been outstanding, one of the best in the country. But for years, they were terrible. I'm like, dude, if you can just get me to the damn spring when they're playing, college baseball and whatnot, I'll be. If you can just get me to the point of somewhere around March to somewhere around February, to where the college baseball season begins, I can live with the fact that they're not any good, because I'll have something new to watch. But when you just suck the whole time, you're like, oh God, I gotta watch this again. And that's how the Seans are born to the world. They're like, oh, dude, I can't watch 162 games of getting beat 8-30. It's ridiculous. which is
Get
why
fed
they
up of
do
it.
fantasy sports, because when you have a fantasy baseball team, like it makes it a lot easier for you. All right, so moving on from that, it's Philadelphia Eagles Day, and to me, this is an exciting team to talk about because you've got Jalen Hurts. This is his show now. I don't think he's looking over his shoulder to see if Joe Flacco's going to take it off this year, right? So, yeah, we can put a pin in that. When I see that Joe Flacco had only played like 4 or 5 games over the last 20-something games, had only played in it. So they didn't even mention if that means just going in and taking the kneels on a blowout, right? So Jalen Hurts is a starter for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
I think there's more of a chance that if he were to struggle that Nick Mullins goes in over Joe Flacco, right?
That wouldn't shock me.
Right. I mean, Flacco's literally there to hold a clipboard and to sit there and go, dude, don't get hurt, man. I'm not trying to get out there today, man. Let's be cool. I can play till I'm 50 if I never have to play. With that being said, their running back situation with Miles Sanders. Now, 2 years ago, he had 1,300 yards from scrimmage. Last year, he only had 800 yards rushing. And only had, I think I said 28 receptions. So he was cut out of the passing game quite a bit in 2020. Some of this was due to injury. But do you think there's going to be more of a commitment to him because they went out and Boston Scott is right now considered the backup, but they did go out and draft Gainwell. And then of course, Jordan Howard, I believe, is still on the roster somewhere.
I'm not sure how much longer he'll be on.
Right.
I like Howard, but he might be a little bit out of his prime.
A little,
yeah.
I can't wait to get you into this fantasy league. There's always that one guy in every fantasy league. I'm not saying to you, but there's always that one guy in fantasy league that drafts like so like if you're going into this season, there's always that one guy that drafts like the 2017 All-Star team. And you're like, this is football, man.
I've learned from drafting David Johnson over and over. I'm done. I've given up on that. Believe me. I'm past those days.
I'm always more quickly to jump off a bandwagon before others in fantasy because I've played this for too long, and you watch these guys, especially a running back, when they fall off, they fall off, and you don't even get any warning. Like this guy, the guy looked fine back in December. Why is it in September he can't hit the hole? The hell has happened? Well, he had an off season of eating, churros and freaking ice cream and anything else he can get his hands on. He goes to the off season looking like Brad Pitt, and he comes back looking like Pablo Sandoval. Like, oh crap! Why did I draft this guy? That's why a lot of people don't, but I still say it is imperative to watch the preseason.
Mainly, don't draft early.
Yeah, I want to make sure no one's coming
drafting
back
in July.
Yeah, I don't want anyone coming back looking like Jamarcus Russell. Right? You're like, oh, good Lord.
Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, exactly. Kelvin Benjamin.
Florida State legend.
Oh, yeah. He will always be a Florida State legend. But,
NFL what?
What are they doing? They're trying to make him a tight end now or what? I'm like, whatever, man.
Yeah. I hope it works out.
They probably should have done that when he first came out, to be honest with you. And I think if today was then, they would have. But back then, the tight ends were not looked upon as the big commodity. Kelvin Benjamin was always kind of built like a tight end. Even when he was thinner in college, he was still had that look of like, dude, how many shoulder pads are you wearing? Because you look kind of chunky. What's going on here? He still had the catch, so respect to Kelvin Benjamin, but don't draft him.
Maybe in the last round.
If you say so, man.
Just for the heck of it, why not? Maybe we'll see what he does at tight end. No, I probably won't be drafting Kelvin Benjamin.
Well, before I draft Kelvin Benjamin, I'm going to take a flyer on one of these Eagles receivers. First of all, Devontae Smith, they expect him to be the guy. Now I worry about Devontae Smith because he doesn't have the most accurate passer throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
So from a fantasy perspective, he kind of scares me. He could also be lightning in a bottle, having Hurts running around like a maniac and Devontae Smith wide open. You could have a lot of fun plays. 52% completion rating from Jalen Hurts. Does that not scare the hell out of you?
No, it definitely does. I will say though, I'll give him some slack, given the receiving core for the Eagles was not good at all last year. I mean, Fulgham was solid for a little bit, but he seemed to kind of disappear late in the season. Rager didn't have much of an impact at all. So I'll cut him some slack in that sense. But there are definitely some concerns with Jalen Hurts, and I think given time he may work them out. But right now it could be a problem.
Well, Rager was their first round pick last year. Devontae Smith, first round pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to put them out there side by side, and then of course Fulgham will probably be the third wideout, and then then behind that you've got like Greg Ward and a couple other guys you can throw it. Whiteside is probably the most likely person to me to make a step into that starting rotation. I'm not sold on Quez Watkins or John Hightower. I mean, these all sound like made up names on a really bad football movie. But the offense is going to go as much as Jalen Hurts gets it to go. As fun as he is, he's one of my favorite players to watch. I don't have a whole hell of a lot of confidence in him because he is in a division where he's going to be in some shootouts against Dallas now that Dak Prescott is back. He's going to have a hard time keeping up with the Washington Redskins because
defense.
I believe Fitzpatrick's probably going to be the starter.
Well, he would have had Miami in the playoffs had they not benched him.
Exactly. He does not get the respect he should get. But when you look at this, I think I've got to put the Eagles. God, the biggest tipping point, and we're doing them coming up soon. The biggest tipping point is how good are the Giants going to be? I think the Eagles could be the worst team in the division. What say you?
I think they're definitely third or fourth. I'll probably give them the edge as of now over the Giants, though. But I think they're third.
Even with Saquon coming back.
Well, I'm not sure how healthy he is. I mean, he's not playing week one.
Did you see his quads the other day?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's insanely athletic, but he's still rehabbing that ACL. I don't know if he's already said he's not sure what his status is for week one. That's not a very good sign. I'll say he'll probably come back week 4 or 5, maybe.
Well, they still have Devontae Booker, who is
He's
decent.
not Saquon.
No, he's not Saquon. That does worry you, but at the same token, when he comes back in week, we'll just split the difference to say he comes back in week 3, right?
That's fair.
By then, Miles Sanders will be on the IR. And he can't stay healthy. So you're going to have Saquon Barkley in your backfield, and they're going to have Boston Scott in their backfield. I mean, I got
all until Saquon goes down again, and then Booker's back out there running back one.
It's not like he's got an injury-riddled history. Now, Miles Sanders does. Mainly because
Miles Sanders does. I'd be worried if I was a Giants fan, though, for sure about Barkley. I mean, I think he's incredibly talented, and I think if healthy, he's one of the top running backs in the league. But the injuries have been a little bit worrying.
But they are loaded at wide receiver.
Yeah.
The Giants are. And we'll get into them down the road. But I think right now, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles as the worst team in the East, but you got them as third. That's fair. There's a lot of scanning over their schedule real quick, and I'll just hit it off really, really quick, and then we'll put a number on it. The Eagles are sorry, let me get to it. I thought I was on the page, and I'm not on the page. I'm on the wrong page. The Eagles will start their season off, and Preseason's always fun with the Eagles because they start off with the Steelers, and that's a fun game. And they're going to have the Patriots and the Jets, but who gives a damn about preseason? So let's go into the regular season. They're at the Falcons, at home against the Niners, at the Cowboys, at home against the Chiefs, at the Panthers, at home against the Bucks, at the Raiders, at the Lions, at home against the Chargers, at the Broncos in November, at home against the Saints, and then they're at the Giants, at the Jets, which that works out well because you played New York twice. If they weren't so close, if Philadelphia wasn't so close to New York, I'd say you just stay in New York that week, but it's kind of pointless. And then they finish off with it at home against Washington, at home against the Giants, at Washington. So they're going to play the Washington 2 times in a 3-week span, and then finish it all off with the Cowboys. They play, what is that? Their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of their last 6 weeks are divisional games.
Yeah.
So even if they get off to a bad start, they've got a chance to turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this team is 7-10, 6. I'll say
I'm putting them at 6-11 or so.
Well, if they're 6-11, they might be the worst team in the division then.
I don't have much faith in the Giants. I don't really trust Daniel Jones.
So you think the Giants are going to go like 1-16 or something?
Well, not that bad. I mean, that's a stretch. I'm not going to say they'll be worse than the Lions and the Texans. But I don't have much faith in Daniel Jones, truthfully.
Are the Giants tanking for Spencer?
They should if they get a high enough pick. I don't think they'll get the number 1 pick, though, so I doubt they'll be able to get him. Same with Howell. I don't think they'll be high enough to get him either.
If your guess is next year, who's sitting at that number 1 pick? Who's going to be the worst team in the NFL tanking for Houston?
I'm saying Houston. Either way, I think they're going to be without Watson, whether it's because of the allegations or if it's because of him forcing a trade out. But I think I'm pretty confident the Texans having number 1. And then
that right there is a match made in heaven too, by the way. If you can get Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma to slide down to Houston, there's a lot of Sooner fans in that Houston area.
Yeah.
That's a match made in heaven to have a guy from that area. So yeah, I would like to see that. I'm really surprised that something hasn't come out about Watson at this point.
Yeah, that timeline's been kind of dry for a couple months now.
They haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't suspended him or anything. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Trevor Bauer hasn't played baseball in 2.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done anything.
Yeah, I'm shocked that we haven't heard at least some sort of report about Watson yet. I mean, with how the investigation is going, more than anything, really.
Well, you would think there would at least be some kind of a suspension.
That or him being on the commissioner's exempt list until they figure it out.
Yeah, that's what they call that now. But it's the same thing, right? Because I mean, I've seen other things have popped off, and guys haven't been proven yet. Antonio Brown wasn't allowed to play.
Yeah,
that thing never got to court.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2 or 3 allegations, I believe, total. He's got 22 allegations that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, there might be more. I think they got so tired of reporting it, they just said, "The heck with this. We're not paying attention to this anymore." The economy's in the crapper. Let's pay attention to that now. So, it's just I would have thought something would have came of this by now. All right, time to turn back time, get the hell on out of here with our walk-offs here on another Tuesday edition as the NBA Finals might be coming to a freaking end, and then we're gonna be stuck watching the Olympics. Maybe they're saying they might cancel the Olympics last second. What a bunch of jerks!
That would be
jerks.
That'd be a letdown.
Dude, it's bad enough to cancel the Olympics. It's another thing to get those kids all the way over there and go. Oh, by the way, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you already got them over there. Go ahead and let them play the sports. Most of the sports don't even touch each other. When I think of the Olympics, I think of running. I think of badminton. weightlifting.
They have a badminton team?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Something popped up on my TV the other day, and you could choose what you wanted to record, so you wouldn't miss it because they're going to come on at such weird times. And badminton was up there, and a couple of different weird versions of table tennis. I think like 47 types of table tennis, but they had baseball out of the Olympics for like 20 years. The hell is that about? All right, end rant. Table tennis. All right. On this date in 1912, the famous Sherry McGee, same spelling. I don't believe any kind of relation as far as I know. He steals home twice in one game. At one point, Sherry McGee's baseball card was one of the most expensive ones in all of the land. That they haven't talked about Sherry McGee's card in years, so I don't know if something happened to it or whatever. But I remember late 90s, Sherry McGee's baseball card for the Phillies was a really sought after one, and it was because it was one of these, something that a lot of people don't understand. When baseball cards first came out, they were tobacco cards, so they weren't. Now they ended up becoming bubblegum cards, but they used to be tobacco cards. You would get the baseball cards in your pouch of tobacco, because back then you would buy tobacco and you would roll your own cigarettes. And one of his cards was in there, and it became essentially priceless. It was the great Christy Mathewson and Honus Wagner. This is the reason why the Honus Wagner card is always so expensive. You always see it going on sale for like $2-3 million, because Honus Wagner and Christy Mathewson were one of the first to demand that they no longer have their cards put in tobacco. And that's when these companies started putting them in bubble gum, because they didn't want kids buying tobacco just to have their card. So one of their first role models, Honus Wagner. And it's one of the reasons why Christy Mathewson, his nickname was called the Christian Gentleman. And it was things like that. Christy Mathewson, check this out. When he was in his heyday in the 19-teens, okay, he refused to talk to any reporter that he knew, any baseball reporter that he knew was running around on his wife. He would not do business with them. And no one called him out for it because they didn't want anyone to write an article. So this guy won't give me an interview because I'm banging some other gal. So they just had to take it, because he was like, I'm not going to do it, man. I know you're running around your wife. I saw you. He didn't drink nothing. And the poor bastard died of mustard gas in World War I. He came over World War I, fought in World War I, was exposed to mustard gas, and then died a few years later after he came back. All right, birthdays. If I can find it. Oh, here it is.
It's your birthday today.
All right, dead guy. Let's go with him first. Mike Ilitch, American businessman. He founded Little Caesars Pizza and the Detroit Red Wings. He was born on this date in 1929, died in 2017. And strangely enough, I can't pull up the picture because it'll block me off of this thing. But man, look that guy's picture up today, Mike Ilitch. He looks just like the freaking Raiders owner.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Not much of a, yeah, it's not much of a compliment.
It's not a compliment. Ugh, poor bastard. But, you know, he and the Red Wings and Little Caesars, I think he did all right for himself. Let's grab a couple of guys that are alive. Jay Barker, another NFL quarterback that came from Alabama, went to the New England Patriots. Ever heard of him?
I can't say I have. Jay Barker.
Well, he would have been compared to a Mac Jones. That's the only problem I have when I say Mac Jones is really good. Jay Barker was the quarterback for the 92 Crimson Tide that smoked Miami in the Sugar Bowl. But he was really looked upon as a workman-like quarterback. He wasn't looked upon as this big stud or whatever, but he was drafted by the Patriots and it was a total bust. a few years later they would draft some guy in Michigan named Brady. What is your walk-off for the day?
8 p.m. Central Time, 9 Eastern Time. Suns Bucks. Of course, it's an easy one to say, but I feel like this is going to be an exciting game. It could go either way. I think the Suns, I think they pull away with it just because they need to win this game. But either way, I think it's going to be very entertaining. I think everybody should go watch it.
Today is National Fortune Cookie Day. When's the last time you had a fortune cookie?
Oh, geez. You know, I never really liked them. I didn't like how they tasted. I didn't like the texture, I guess. But I always got them just so I could open them up and get the fortune. So it's been a long time, though.
Money, because no one really cared what they tasted like.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah, the fortune.
We used to go to a buffet in high school. It was a Chinese food buffet, and me and the guys would go to this place. It was right up the road from the school, and we come in 17, 18-year-old guys, big guys with big appetites going in there, and we'd put a hurting on their buffet. There's no telling what they were serving us. But I'll never forget the fact that the lady that owned the place, very, very heavy accent, very, very heavy Mandarin Chinese accent, would come up to the table, and after we'd done our first round and we go get the second round, this must be an all-you-can-eat buffet. If you want to sit there all day, you could legally, right? She would come up and slam a bunch of cookies on the table. She was always in disgust because you could just tell she was cheap. She was, cookie time, cookie time. Time for you to go, cookie time.
Wanted to get out of it.
It became a running joke. We used that for years. We'd be out partying and drinking stuff like that. And, something would happen at a bar we didn't like. We're like, I think it's cookie time, man. Let's get the hell out of here. Have a great day.
That's awesome. Thank you. You too.
Enjoy the basketball. Hopefully we get a game 7. If not, that just means we get to dive into more badminton on Thursday. All right.
Sounds good to me.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.